There is quite the variety of quality in medical billing and coding training programs, and I don't want you getting duped into some cheap online Groupon medical billing and coding course that isn't going to give you what you need. And conversely, I don't want you also spending way too much money on a program that's going to give you way more than what you actually need. So how do you find that sweet spot of something that's going to be just right and also be cost effective? Not to mention that we're all busy these days. Some of us are working more than one job, and we need something that's going to get us ahead eventually and work around our crazy schedule with our job, with kids, with family obligations. And of course, you want training that's not just going to train you in medical billing and coding, but get you like job ready, because I'm guessing that you don't want to just learn medical billing and coding for funsies. You actually want to get a career and be paid well for this. And hey, if you're new here, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, and content creator. And on my channel, I provide tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you be successful in a medical coding career. Today, I'm going to help you figure out some of the best programs for medical billing and coding and how to identify what you need in these programs. I'm also going to tell you about the program that I personally recommend, which is called Preppy and is today's sponsor. And I will talk more about them in just a little bit. So a lot of times when you're looking and starting out in medical billing and coding, you want to check near you. You want to check some programs that might be able to help you out with maybe getting an internship or an externship in an area that's local to you. So you check out those community colleges. You check out those technical schools that are near you. But you do have to be careful with some of those tech schools. I've had friends that have gone to some tech schools that have folded over and then wound up losing their certifications. Not in billing and coding, I think in like medical assistance, but even still, you want to make sure that it's somewhere reliable, somewhere that has been around for a while or is partnered with a good institution that's been around for a while. Not just some ad that you saw on Instagram and they want you to message them on WhatsApp because they're going to give you training for some ridiculously low price, because usually that means it's not quality. It's not going to get you where you need to go. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Not to say that there aren't affordable options for training, but the ones that are dirt cheap are usually not the way to go. But before you enroll in any program, some of the things that you're going to need to look for are they getting you the right certifications at the end? Are they going to prepare you for the right certifications? That doesn't mean the certification has to be included, or that doesn't mean that there aren't other certifications maybe offered. There are a lot of programs that offer a certain certification that I think they get at a discount, and it's not a bad certification, but what I really want to emphasize is that employers are looking for candidates that have certifications through AAPC or AHIMA or AHIMA. And commonly that's the CPC certification or the CCS certification. So the other ones that are out there, they're fine. If they're included, you can take them. But I'm telling you, if you're looking for a job, especially in medical coding, medical billing, not so much. They don't emphasize billing certifications as much for billing jobs, but if you want to work in coding, CPC, CCS, those are the exams you need to take. Second is it affordable for your budget? So I've seen some programs that are associate's degree programs costing $10,000, $11,000, $12,000. You don't need to spend that much. Honest to God, if you are getting the top tier medical billing and coding training through the AAPC, I think it's still only like $5,000, $4,000. Personally, I wouldn't look to spend more than $2,000 or $3,000. Preppy is a lot less than that. And if you include the AAPC membership and the exam fee, which are the two separate things that you have to buy if you want to get a coding certification, it still comes out way, way cheaper than most other programs. The other thing you need to look at is this going to work around your schedule? There's some programs that are online, but they're timed in such a way that you have to complete them after a certain amount of weeks or months, and then you have to pay for extensions. So is this going to be something that can work around your schedule? Do you have to log in at certain times? Really look at what your schedule is and see if what the program you're looking for is going to work around that. And then also the extras. In order to learn medical coding, you have to have medical coding Books, typically there's 3 of them for pro fee coding. For the CPC, you need an ICD-10-CM, a CPT, and a HCPCS. A lot of places don't include the HCPCS because there's such a minimal amount of it that's on the certification exams and stuff that too many people would complain, and they go like, oh, you made me buy this $80 book and then we only used it for an hour. So some places stopped including them, but that's what I would suggest is look for, are you going to get books included? Are they going to be up-to-date books, or are they going to make you pay for those extra things? Like, what is your budget and what are the extra things you might have to pay for? Maybe you could found a budget-friendly option, but you have to pay extra for the books, and you have to pay for lab fees, or you have to pay for prerequisites. So pay attention to some of those potential hidden costs. Those are the things that you really need to think about. The books, memberships you might need to get, prerequisites, and exam fees. Local schools can be a great choice, especially if you have something like an employer reimbursement relationship with them, or you have financial aid. Sometimes you can get grants or scholarships, which is awesome. Although be careful about things like financial aid, because sometimes you just go, oh yeah, I got all this financial aid, and you sign off the paperwork, and then you don't think about how your later self is actually going to have to pay them off, because you're just like, oh, I don't have to pay it now. And then fast forward a couple of years and you're like heavily in debt because you didn't think about down the line when you have to pay them off. Sometimes it's actually a lot more cost effective to just pay things in a few short installments or put it on a credit card than continue to pay that interest on all those student loans. And really look into your local programs too, because you might have local programs that look pretty good, but they might be faulty. Even my local community college program that I went through was okay for just general billing and coding knowledge, not so much for certification prep, but they had trouble finding faculty sometimes. So one of my coding instructors was just an RN who really had very minimal coding exposure. And that does happen. There are some programs that you sign up for and your coding instructor winds up being someone who's not super familiar with coding or doesn't really know what's going on, that maybe they were just the general healthcare instructor and they got stuck with that course. So see if you can find out more information about, is the person who's going to train you in coding a coder? So check the instructors, make sure that the cost is right for you. Some of them are unfortunately more expensive than they should be. And some of them, especially some of those associate's degree programs, they start throwing in stuff that you don't really need to just get a medical billing and coding job. And there's just other limitations that you should kind of keep an eye out for. And let's be honest, online training has come a long, long way different than it used to be even pre-pandemic. A lot of times it was just like, hey, read your textbook, here's your online portal where you need to submit your homework, and here's a board where you can chat with some of your classmates. But there's a lot more interaction now. There's a lot more support, videos, and things you can learn in these learning management systems. So it's not quite as dry as it used to be, and not quite as much just self-study, but you submit paperwork and stuff online. And honestly, in a lot of cases, the online training is better than what you would get in person at your local school because, again, they have a very limited pool of instructors, and you might wind up signing up for that term where they maybe did have a good coding instructor and they're on maternity leave, and now you're stuck with some medical assistant who only does a tiny little bit of it, like selecting it in the electronic medical record system. So when you're online, there's a lot more options and opportunities that open up. Not to mention you can learn at your own pace, around your own schedule. You don't have to commute. It's oftentimes a lot more affordable, and you can still get the same great training and get certified and be ready for a job. And not all programs are created equal. That's why you really have to look into what is included, not just look at the flashy website or see, oh yeah, this is the training and just click buy. You know, there are things that you might have to purchase separately, or they might not disclose that this course is for people who have pre-existing knowledge in medical terminology and anatomy. Really look for something that's going to prepare you for one of those 2 major certifications, the CPC or the CCS. So the CPC is offered by AAPC. The CCS is offered by AHIMA. A lot of programs, though, don't train for the CCS. It is a little bit more advanced. It has a different code set called ICD-10 PCS. And AHIMA as an organization has had some issues lately with membership and poor financial planning. I won't get too much into that for this video, but if you want to look more into the options of AAPC or AHIMA, I do have videos that speak specifically to that. If you are serious about becoming a medical coder, I would recommend the program Preppy, and here's why. It's very affordable, it is budget friendly, it works around your schedule, and they have everything encompassed into this wonderful package. The only thing that you need to buy separate is your AAPC membership and that certification if you want to get the CPC. Not everyone does. Maybe you just want to get into medical billing and you don't need a certification for that. But again, it is 100% online. It is self-paced. It can work around your schedule. It also gives you 80 contact hours of medical coding education, which comes into play if you are an apprentice coder. So if you sit for the CPC exam and you don't have 2 years experience or the equivalent, you're designated an apprentice coder, there's a couple of things that you can do to fast track that. One is a program called Practicode that you can purchase that is mock coding cases that you have to code all the way through from scratch. The second thing that can expedite that is the 80 contact hours of medical coding education. Each of those will each take 1 year off that 2-year requirement. So Preppy can help you remove that apprenticeship status faster. It's budget friendly, and there's also externship capabilities, which you do not find in other programs, or if you do, they oftentimes will make you pay literally thousands of dollars more for them. Plus, they have great support. They're really responsive to their students. I have personally seen how well their students have done, and you can see it too if you go to their YouTube channel of Preppy Student Reviews. I'll link that in the description below as well. If you want to find out more, me and Grant Aldrich over at Preppy put together this great career masterclass at medicalcodingmasterclass.com, and you can go there and find out more. So when you're looking for a program, whether it's in-person or online, make sure that they're preparing you for the right type of certification. If you're looking for a certification, which you're going to need if you want to go into medical coding, billing maybe not so much. Make sure it works around your schedule as well. Check that they're transparent on the pricing, that you're not going to have lab fees or additional fees that you weren't expecting, if the books are going to have to cost you extra, or if those are going to be included, if your prerequisites are going to be included. And the other thing I want to mention is that there are oftentimes schools that will have training material that they recorded a while ago and they keep reusing it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad or outdated. Medical coding, they only change a small percentage of the codes from year to year. So even I've had programs that I recorded in the past where they were like review classes for the CPC that I would continue to use the same videos year for year. And I would change maybe like a 1-minute section if a code changed. But since the entire other portions didn't change, it didn't make sense for me to spend hours and hours and hours and hours re-recording and having re-edited all of this hours of material and footage when really only this small percentage of it has changed. So you might find that in your programs as well. So just because something said it was made in 2023 doesn't necessarily mean that it is outdated. It just means that they're still using the material that they recorded from them. The concepts of how you do billing and coding do not change from year to year. Maybe the codes themselves change a little bit. There might be certain codes that change a little bit, methodology here and there. E&M has changed maybe in the past few years, evaluation and management, but all of those concepts of how to look up an ICD-10 CM code, how to look up a CPT code, they have not changed. And don't be afraid to ask questions before you enroll. I always tell people, if you're concerned about Preppy or have questions about the program, you can contact help@preppy.org and they can assist you. Any program that you sign up for, even if you go directly for the AAPC, which you should be able to, they have customer service lines that you can call and ask questions and they can help answer questions. If you are looking at a program and there is no one you can contact, even through email, I would be a little concerned about that. But hey, if you're getting the program for free through some sort of employer reimbursement or something, like, I guess you don't really have much risk that involved, or if you're getting it for a very affordable price. So if you're really ready to find a school, look for one that fits with your budget, with your schedule, with your goals. And if you want to check out more about Preppy, I will link that in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.